And welcome back. Since the last video I believe I went over was on my experience with the Odin Project, going over Git commands and stuff like that. But anyway, on this video, a lot has happened since the last video through the Odin Project. So I believe I was at the commit section right now. Let's take a look here. I'm now 43% with the foundations part. So I'm at the first project, I guess this is. It's the recipes project, and I just started doing that. But what I've done since the first one, I think I was on Git Basics. So I pretty much did that, and I went through the HTML foundations part. So I'm on the last portion, which is the project part of HTML. So I just want to say a lot has happened since then. So one of the things that changed was I'm actually going to, after going through the future stuff of this project, like I wanted to see the stuff after this, and there's like two routes. It's like you can do Ruby or JavaScript, like lane. Like you can do the Ruby on Rails, teaches you the back end, or you can do the JavaScript, React, Node.js stuff, Express, like that lane. And thinking about it, I was like, I know a little JavaScript already, so I've worked with it, so I'm going to choose that path. I may look at the Ruby just to take a look to see what it is, but I'm going to be that path, the JavaScript path. And so in doing that, I got ordered some books about it, and I'm not as focused on the Azure cloud as a thing. This is a big thing for me in my thought process currently. For the last time, it was like, oh, I have to learn Azure Cloud. I have to get the AZ204 and everything. And while it's good for me to have a foundation of Azure, that's not my focus or priority. It's the web development, it's the front end, back end. And while the cloud is important, I just don't feel it currently necessary for me to put so much time into getting that, because that's outside of the scope of what I'm trying to do. So that was a big thing that I had to realize. So I ordered an AZ900 cert book, and I'm still gonna read through it because I still kind of want maybe that cert and the Linux essentials. But moving forward, that's just not what I'm trying to do. So anyway, with that being said, one of the other things so that was the big major thing in my thought process since then. But one of the other major things is that in using Visual Studio, so I use Visual Studio Code, I didn't know that for the longest time in Visual Studio, or in when I was working on my Azure Cloud for my storage container, which has the resume and everything, I was editing the code in the container on Azure, which is fine, but I forgot that Visual Studio allows me to connect my Azure tenant, and I can go in Visual Studio and edit the code on VS Code and make all the change. I can add my local files to that container from via VS Code. And I was going into had to log into Azure. I had to go through it was a longer process to do it via Azure when I could just go via VS Code. Another thing is on the site now, I kind of much updated the site for myself. I added a section for the skill set that I'm going to be working with and prioritizing, which is the JavaScript lane. So the HTML, as you can see, the Node, the React, the CSS, stuff like that. That's the focus of it. So I updated the site to showcase those things on the site, and then that's pretty much the big major change. And oh yeah, another thing is I don't need to use Ghost.io for what I want to do. I'm going to do now to put forth my resume, or my landing page, as you can say, online, is I'm just using my GitHub. So if you want to see what I do, I go on my GitHub, and then everything there. So I'm gonna link the blob storage container for the site from my GitHub. Like, I don't need to pay for Ghost.io $11 a month for that site. I don't need it. It's not necessary. So, and honestly, I just don't like the fact that if I'm going into web development, I don't want to pay for a domain name. So I don't want to do that. I do it myself. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what the changes were that I've made in since the last video. One of the things I also learned through this Odin project is the biggest thing was the lanes, like the JavaScript backend front end lane, or do you want the Ruby on Rails one? And I looked at both, and I don't know a lot about React or Node or Ruby. I know that there are things that people use, and I always hear things about Ruby. I always hear very positive things, and I hear negative things about Ruby. So but I don't know. For right now, I'm just focusing what I already know and comfortable with, and that is JavaScript. So who knows? Maybe down the line I'll try out Ruby. Who knows? You know, you don't really know. When it comes to like life stuff like this, you kind of just try it out, and then you work in the thing, and then you say, okay, I like this thing, whatever. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Right now, I'm doing the project for the recipes for the Odin project. So I just got to that one today, and I'm working on that. I pretty much work on this thing almost every day now. That's another big change. I used to kind of devote a couple of days a week. Now I'm really like locked into this, and I really enjoy it. So I pretty much am doing something along this. If it's my Azure, if it's the I'm working on this thing at least once a day, like at least 20-30 minutes a day. So the minimum. So I really like how I'm really interested and tethered into this now. So I guess that's a good sign, right? So, but other than that, I just wanted to make this video. This is going to be second part of my experience with Odin Project. So there's going to be more. What I'm going to try and do now is make more consistent content revolving around my personal experience with Odin Project and how my journey to getting better at working in front end web development, back end, full stack stuff. I want the point of this. The point of me making this YouTube is just a output of content about my current mindset and what I'm learning. Like, that's the point of this. It's not supposed to be I am the GOAT. I'm a GOAT web developer. That's not, because I'm not. I'm literally not. I'm learning this thing, and I want to show, like, oh, look how, I want to look back on this in like 6 months and be like, damn, look where I started and look where I am now. And then from the first video, I've already learned so much since the first video, and that was like less than 2 weeks ago. So that's the point of this. It's just progress. So just have to stay consistent and keep going. So anyway, just wanted to make this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I will be back for another one, hopefully the end of this week, middle of this week, whenever. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.